Good evening, commissioners. It seems like it's been a while since we've all been together, but nice to be on the Zoom with you again.
Mr. Chairman, we like.
Good evening, Robert.
All right, so it looks like we're ready to call this meeting to order. So at this time, I call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the Baldwin Park Planning Commission for December 9th, 2020. Commissioner Garrido, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure thing, Chairman Sines. Go ahead and mute your mics. Place your right hand over your heart and go ahead and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Garrido. At this time, Madam Secretary, will you please call roll?
Thank you, Chair. And I do want to acknowledge that we have one vacant commissioner seat at this time. Chair Christopher Sines.
Present.
Vice Chair Edwin Bortas.
Here.
Commissioner Edith Flores Reese.
Present.
Commissioner Christopher Garrido.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther. So at this time, Madam Secretary, have we received any public comments in regards to anything other than what's on tonight's agenda?
We have two, Chair, one from that I will read into record, and then the other, it will be a call.
Noted. Thank you. Go ahead, Esther.
Okay, thank you. The one I'm reading into record this afternoon reads as follows. Good evening, Chairperson Sines, Commissioner, staff, and community. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for all of the work you do to assist in the betterment of our community. I personally appreciate you taking time to serve our community in the capacity of city commissioners. It is with your professionalism, thoughtful, and collective collaboration that your ideas and suggestions assist in creating a better Baldwin Park. Along with our exceptional planning staff under the Community Development Department, you have afforded the positive progress of our city and community. I appreciate you and thank you for your efforts. It has been a pleasure working beside you for the last 4 years as a fellow commissioner, your city clerk, and your council member. Thank you again for your commitment and dedication to our city of Baldwin Park. Please be well and safe. Best, Ms. Jean M. Ayala, Master's in Education, resident, educator, and retired council member. The next one will be a call to former Mayor Lozano. One moment, please.
The mailbox belonging to 6264.
I'd like to try again, please, sir.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Esther.
Thank you.
belong.
I'm not getting an answer, sir.
Chairman Sines, if you don't mind, I will text former Mayor Lozano and just let him know that we're trying to reach him. Maybe he doesn't recognize the call.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert, that's okay. And I think that if we get an opportunity to speak to him later on this meeting, I think the commission be open to receiving that call.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Robert.
Okay, I just texted him now. We'll see if he's able to receive that.
Great. Thank you very much, Robert. So I think that we're going to go ahead and move on to adopting the consent calendar. And if we get the former mayor on the line, we'll absolutely take the call.
Okay, good idea.
Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to move on to the consent calendar. I move to adopt the action minutes from October 28th, 2020.
Second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Garrido. Madam Secretary, would you mind calling roll?
Thank you, Chair. Chair Christopher Sine,
Yes.
Vice Chair Edwin Borkus,
Yes.
Commissioner Edith Flores Reese,
Yes.
and Commissioner Christopher Garrido.
Yes.
Great. Motion passes 4-0. Action minutes have been adopted. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and move on to set matters, public hearing. We have an item number 2, the consideration and adoption of a mitigated negative declaration in conjunction with the request for consideration and approval of a tentative parcel map to consolidate 3 lots into 1 lot and a zoning variance to deviate from the minimum lot size, lot depth, and lot width to facilitate the development of a 6-story, 59,766 square foot general office, retail, and medical office building, including, so sorry, 1 second, including a subterranean parking and surface parking, location 14614, 14622 Dalewood Street, applicant the Stetson Group, case number TPM 83340, previously referred as TPM 1432 and ZV 711. Mr. Ron Garcia.
Thank you, Chairman Sands, members of the Planning Commission, and staff. Tonight, the applicant has indicated is requesting the approval of a tentative parcel map to consolidate 3 existing vacant parcels and a zoning variance to deviate from zoning standards for lot size of 4 acres, and lot depth of 200 feet and lot width of 300 feet within the freeway commercial zone to essentially facilitate the development of a new 6-story, 59,766 square foot general office, retail, medical office building. Next slide, please. The subject site is within the freeway commercial zoning designation. The site is approximately 2 acres and comprised of 3 parcels that are currently vacant. The topography of the site is relatively flat. The project site is located within an urban developed area and surrounded by the I-10 freeway, commercial uses, and residential uses. Again, in the slide that you see here, on the north side, again, we have the I-10 freeway. To the east, we have the former Regency Hotel, which is currently vacant. And to the south is the city of West Covina boundary to Baldwin Park, which are single-family residences. And lastly, to the west is a freeway commercial zoning designation where you have existing auto repair shops and a skilled nursing facility. Next slide. The proposed project will develop, again, a 59,766 square foot 6-story building to include retail, general office, and medical office space on an approximately 88,235 square foot lot. The proposed building would include approximately 50,566 square feet of general office, 8,000 square feet of medical office, and 1,200 square feet of retail space. In addition, the proposed project would provide a total of 221 parking spaces, including one level of subterranean parking with 21 parking stalls and a surface parking lot area of 200 stalls. The building footprint would be 11,055 square feet and represent lot coverage of 12.5%, where 50% lot coverage is allowed. The applicant is also proposing a total of 7,331 square feet of landscaping throughout the site. The landscaping is located around the perimeter of the site and within the parking areas. Landscaping proposed fronting Dalewood Street would serve to soften the aesthetic appearance of the building from the street. In addition, an enhanced landscape buffer along the southern boundary of the project site would be provided. A final landscape and irrigation plan are required per the conditions of approval. Next slide, please. The ground floor would consist of general office space, bathrooms, a lobby, and an outdoor entry plaza. Access to each of the stories will be provided by 3 elevator shafts located centrally in the building. The elevators would provide access from the basement parking level up to the 6th floor, and 3 stairwells would also provide access from the basement to the 2nd floor. 2 of the 3 stairwells would continue access up to the 6th floor. Next slide. The basement would consist of 21 parking stalls, subterranean parking garage with ancillary mechanical rooms. Next slide, please. The 2nd floor would consist of medical uses, bathrooms, small mechanical and electrical rooms, and a pharmacy. Next slide. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th floors would consist of general office space, bathrooms, and small mechanical rooms as well. Project construction would take place for approximately 17 months and is tentatively scheduled to begin in 2021 through 2024. In general, construction activities as required under the municipal code would occur between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day except for federal holidays. Again, per the section of the code, construction activities are allowed during 7 a.m. and through 7 p.m. Therefore, the proposed project would be within the hours allowed for construction. Next slide, please. The proposed development would be visible from the surrounding area, including surrounding streets and buildings. The 6-story structure would be 96 feet in height and would be within maximum height allowed within the City of Baldwin Park zoning code, which does not specify building height limits, but specifies maximum allowed height as stories within the freeway commercial zone. The proposed building reflects a contemporary architectural style and provides for articulation in building surfaces. Next slide. The exterior of the building would be finished with stucco earth tone colors such as brown, beige, and would include non-reflective glass on all 4 sides of the building. The building will also include stone veneer throughout the ground floor, front, rear, and side elevations of the building. Custom wall light fixtures would provide accent lighting at night. Next slide. Again, we have a rendering here showing the proposed 6-story building and the proposed alternative materials on the facade of the building. Next slide. And here is a rendering of the rear side on the southerly side of the building. And you can see the subterranean parking garage entrance there at the bottom. Next slide. As mentioned, the project will require the approval of a tentative parcel map. Within the municipal code, in the freeway commercial zone, the minimum lot size required is 4 acres. And the minimum lot width is 300 feet and the minimum lot depth is 200 feet. All of the parcels do not individually meet the minimum lot area, width, and depth. When merged, the newly created parcel will become an approximately 88,235 square foot lot with at minimum 177 foot width and 125 foot depth. Therefore, the newly created parcel will fall short of the required lot depth, width, and size. And by consolidating the parcels will create less of a non-conformity than left as individual parcels. And moving on, as requested, a zone variance. If we can go back to the slide. Thank you. The applicant is also requesting a deviation for the minimum lot size, depth, and width, as previously stated within the freeway commercial zone. And again, within the freeway commercial zone, you're required a 4 acre minimum site, and then a depth of 200 feet, and then width of 300 feet. So in this case, just to give you some context, you can see that the lot is irregular in shape. And so on the along the frontage along Dalewood, you have a width of 334 feet. But as you can see, as you move towards the southerly part of the lot, towards the rear boundary of the parcel, it narrows. And so there, the lot width is 177 feet. Once we move towards the westerly property line, you can see the irregular shape there. At minimum there, on the westerly, on the short side, would be 125 feet. And then on the longer side, going to the south along the southerly property line, is approximately 263 feet. So based on the variance request, the findings have been made, and based on the topography and lot irregular shape of the lot, the findings have been made to support granting the variance. And therefore, resolutions of approval have been prepared to grant the parcel map and the zone variance to facilitate that development. Within this proposal, the municipal code indicates that the highest design approving authority for all requested permits shall take a final action on all permits. There was a design review that was reviewed and tentatively reviewed and approved back in August of 2016. And given the discretionary items that are being requested tonight for the tentative parcel map and the zoning variance, the Planning Commission essentially the Planning Commission's approval essentially constitutes the final approval of the design review application for site design, architecture, and so on. Next slide. And finally, a mitigated negative declaration of environmental impact was prepared by Environmental Science Associates along with the traffic consultant of the Gandini Group in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. The M&D was circulated for public review for the period of November 2nd through November 23rd. All owners and occupants within 300 feet of the parcel were also notified, in addition to posting the document as required. Comments were received from the City of West Covina, LA County Sanitation Districts, and Caltrans. Response to comments was included in the staff report for your review. With regards to the comments that were provided by the City of West Covina, the applicant agreed to those mitigation measures that included providing a sound barrier along the southerly property line, which is the border of West Covina during construction. So the applicant did agree to those mitigation measures. And lastly, the mitigation measure of during construction that parking of contractors be provided on site. And so the applicant did agree to those. Again, as noticed, a notice of public hearing was provided during that review period. Staff did not receive any letters of concern other than the response to comments to the environmental document for this project. In conclusion, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution certifying the mitigated negative declaration of environmental impact and approving the tentative parcel map and zone variance and design review, and essentially adopt resolution PC 2024 certifying the mitigated negative declaration and the and PC resolution in 2025 approving the tentative parcel map, zone variance, and design review. That concludes staff's presentation. The applicant does have a short presentation they'd like to present. And also the environmental consultant is present for any questions. That concludes my presentation. Thank you. Mark, if you can go ahead and allow Dr. Lapsawala to speak.
Ron,
Yes, Mark.
doctor, that person is not showing the,
Amar Lapsi?
okay.
Yes, Amar Lapsi.
Yeah, you got it. Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
loud and clear.
All right. My name is Amar Lopsi. I'm here with Dr. Lopsiwala.
Hi.
Honorable Chair, Planning Commissioners, and the City of Baldwin Park residents. We present today our project entitled Park Lotso. Next slide, please. The project is located at 14614-22 Dalewood, immediately adjacent to Pointe Avenue off-ramp off the I-10 East. The project was formed combining 3 lots as one. It's approximately 2 acres in total. Next slide, please. The project consists of a new 6-story, 60,000 square foot building for commercial use. We currently have 221 parking spaces, including 1 level of subterranean parking. Next slide, please. The floor plan will be for general office, retail, and medical office building. There will be 3 banks of elevators and a spacious lobby on the first floor. We've enlisted a nationally recognized brokerage firm to approach multinational corporations for lease terms. Next slide, please. We can see the next slide as well after this. Per the impact report that we commissioned, the project does not have a significant environmental impact, which is labeled a negative declaration. All mitigation measures have been incorporated into the project's design. In our opinion, this will be the eastern gateway into the beautiful city of Baldwin Park. If you look at the surrounding area, it's rather dilapidated and not improved. So we really feel that this will bring a sense of rejuvenation, a sense of sophistication to the area. We also feel that the project satisfies the need for higher end commercial space that is close to the I-10. Architecturally, it'll feature beautiful stone veneer and glass, demonstrating a contemporary style. The landscaping will be modern and exceeds the minimum 10% threshold required for parking lot area in the city. Next slide, please. The southern elevation, or the rear view, was designed to protect privacy of the adjacent residences. We feel like the project is aesthetically pleasing and will beautify this area to create a better Baldwin Park. Both Dr. Lopsiwala and I are residents of San Gabriel Valley for over 40 years, so we're especially proud of this project. We have worked cooperatively and patiently with the kind planning staff for about 5 years now. So we look forward to your favorable consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amar and Dr. Lapsawala for that. It looks like I just got a message. Before we proceed, it looks like the former mayor is on hold. If we can have the former mayor make his comments before we proceed on the item. Mr. City Attorney?
I think it's a great
Yes,
idea.
yes, Ron, that would be appropriate in this instance. It's thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Ron, we should take the call now. So Esther, if you have him on the line, you can connect him.
Esther, want to let you know you are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Is that better? Are you able to hear now?
Yes, Esther. Okay, looks like we're good to go.
Are you good to go now?
Yes,
Okay, so I can put the mirror back on?
yes.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. You can continue.
All right, well, I'll just in short, just want to thank each and every one of you for participating and making Baldwin Park a better city. Let's continue being positive and let's continue moving the city forward. So I want to thank each and every one of you. And if I don't see you before Christmas, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take care, everyone, and move forward. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor Lozano, for your kind words. Wishing you all the best and Merry Christmas. The same with former council member Gina Yala. If you're listening in, thank you very much for your positive words, and we also wish you the best and happy holidays. So at this time, Ron, are you okay with moving on to the public hearing?
Yes, we can move on.
Great, thank you very much, Esther. So at this time, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna, actually, before I open the public hearing, do any of the commissioners have any questions of staff?
I do, actually.
Great, go ahead, Commissioner Garrido.
Ron, I mean, obviously the hotel thing didn't fall through. And regards to height, so we're good to go then with the height. I mean, I know it's higher than the hotel, obviously, that was there. And obviously it looks to be bigger project. But I just, that, and then also I know that I read something about the sound impact in the staff report, and just wanted to make sure that was good to go for our neighboring, houses that are right there, actually, behind the freeway there. And just, making sure that that was something that was covered.
Good question, Commissioner Garrido. Absolutely. We did have communication with the city of West Covina, and formerly working in the city of West Covina, I was not surprised by the comment on the environmental document. It's pretty standard, especially when there's construction or a development taking place adjacent to residential properties, and a sound wall was recommended. And so we reached out to the applicant, and they were more than happy to agree to erecting a temporary sound wall, essentially during construction. And so,
okay, so it's just gonna be a wall then. I mean, nothing like not proofed or any soundproofed or anything like that. I know that there's things like that. I mean, just in regards, that's my only concern, is regarding the construction sound, obviously, to the neighbors right there behind the project. Because I mean, that's probably where it's gonna most affect. Obviously, you have the freeway on the other side, which brings noise itself. But that was the only thing I was concerned with.
yes, and so based on the recommendations on the proposed temporary sound wall, buffer wall during construction, City of West Covina did give us a development standard. And as mentioned, the applicant has agreed to erect that wall to mitigate any potential noise impacts
Okay.
during construction.
Sounds good.
Any additional questions of staff? Commissioners, any questions of the applicant? Great. Seeing none, I now open the public hearing. Madam Secretary, have we received any comments in regard to this application?
None received, sir.
Thank you very much. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to speak. All right. So if nobody has any questions, I do have a couple of things to say. I'm actually I'm happy for this project. I guess it's gonna like, I know that Amar had mentioned that it's 5 years in the making. It's gonna make this sector of our community look really beautiful. The architecture is beautiful. I just I guess like under impressed, not with the project and with the building, but with the amount of parking. I guess like I feel like there's a lot of underutilized space by creating so much parking, and like I don't know if that amount of parking, like I know that it's based on the code and the amount of parking that's necessary. But it just seems like a lot of asphalt, and I know just kind of like the like urban heat island effect. If there's anything we could do to like mitigate like, you know, our contribution to heating the city, like I guess this is something that's probably, we're probably past this, but like incorporating more like greenery. I know that the Caltrans letter had mentioned something about creating like a more like inviting front, like I guess like I interpret it as more green space, more like of a plaza, like not necessarily affecting the architecture, but more of the landscaping. And I know like, right, like I don't know, it's probably not like, so I know that I mentioned it to a few of my fellow commissioners, but I'm actually in my third semester of pursuing a degree in urban planning. So I'm like hypercritical of a lot of these applications. So I know that one like sustainable option to like kind of helping mitigate our urban heat island effect is like simple additions that actually aren't very costly, but like right above the entrance to the underground parking lot, there's just this large wall that's kind of like plain, kind of boring, but maybe incorporating like a green wall with like hanging like plants or something. I don't know, just to like give the site more of like a green feel. Like this is probably the biggest developments that I've had the pleasure of participating in on the planning commission. So like I feel like we got to leave our mark with this project. And again, it's nothing to do with the project. I think that it's going to go forward, or I'm certainly going to vote for moving it forward. But I'd like to see like something like to increase the green aspect of the project. So I don't know, Ron, if we're like at a point that we're past this, like is that something that, I don't know, maybe if the applicant is even open to like changing landscaping, but those are just my comments.
Yeah. Just to respond to your comments before we open it up to the applicant. So for landscaping, just so in the municipal code requires 10% of the whole parking lot to be landscaped. I will say in my experience in working in other cities, I think the City of Baldwin Park zoning code goes above and beyond what normally you would find in other cities, in that it specifically indicates we want a certain percentage of park landscaping within the parking lot. And I think it to help mitigate some of the comments that you made about that heat island effect. One of the things that it does is it says that every 10 parking spaces, you got to put in a tree. So that way you have that tree canopy within the parking lot to reduce that heat island effect. And even further, as part of state law, it is required that any new development undergo comply with the state water efficient landscaping requirements. So the landscape plan will meet the state water efficient requirements based on water usage, based on the type of landscaping material, to make sure that it's drought tolerant landscaping. So that's a good thing. I want to highlight that. But I want to now open it up to the applicant to see what his thoughts are on the suggestions regarding the elevation, modifying the elevations of the building. Again, as mentioned, it's at the discretion of the Planning Commission to make those types of recommendations specific to the elevations and proposed architecture of the building. But I hope I was able to answer some of your questions regarding the landscaping.
No, absolutely, Ron. No, I appreciate it. And I guess we're already leaving our mark as a city by going above and beyond in our code requiring increased landscaping. I don't know. I think that even through the process of updating our downtown specific plan and just listening to Kaiser Rongwala go over every and again, I understand that this project isn't necessarily in our downtown area, but just listening to him speak about rethinking the way that we design sites, and kind of like and he actually specifically mentioned that a lot of our I guess real estate is used up by parking. And so like if we found alternative ways of, I guess, repurposing parking lots. And I think even like the Caltrans response to the environmental study mentioned that like it was very interesting to read the letter, because they kind of like were speaking to the fact that the underground parking should be designed in a way that it could be repurposed in the event of no longer being needed, or something to that effect. So obviously we're trying to be like conscientious of hopefully moving to a more sustainable like transportation. And so I don't know, I just feel like it's a lot of parking, I guess. But thank you very much for answering my questions. And I guess we'll just open it up to the applicant.
And Chairman Sands, I do agree with the comments. And yes, it seems like there is a lot of parking, but based on the again, as you mentioned, based on the municipal code and based on the building size, requires a pretty large number of parking spaces to be on site to facilitate the activities within the building. You know, again, yes, it is not in the downtown. I'll also want our environmental consultant, Kimberly Camacho. Mark, if you can allow her to speak. Kimberly, can you just go provide a brief summary of the comments that were provided by Caltrans, what those mean as far as the comments that provided on and how they relate to requirements of meeting the CEQA?
Sure, of course. Good evening, commissioners. As Ron mentioned, my name is Kimberly Camacho with Environmental Science Associates, and I'm the project manager in charge of the environmental documents. So let me just bring up those comments. So first of all, I just want to say before Caltrans issued this letter, the traffic consultant Gandini group did meet with Caltrans to discuss the project. And the traffic study was updated at that point to account for their recommendations. So in the letter itself on the environmental document, Caltrans specifically requested a few items, including transportation demand management measures to include alternative to the required car parking. They wanted to reduce the amount of parking and they mentioned that the parking currently exceeds the amount of parking required by the city. And they also recommended that if parking must be built that did not face the street directly, they would rather shift the parking from the front of the project site to the rear. And then they also requested that if underground parking must be built, it should be designed in a way that is conducive to adaptive reuse, and give some development criteria based on that. And they also requested adequate bicycle parking spaces be provided. So in the environmental document itself, we did provide transportation demand management measures, and the representative from the Gandini group may be able to explain those better. But ultimately, there is no impact here, and they are implemented to satisfy the requirements of CEQA.
Got a delay, Mom. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mark. Tom Huang, which is, can you unmute Tom Huang?
Tom, go ahead. You are muted.
Okay, yeah, this is Tom Huang. Yeah, I'm with Gandini Group. We're the one who prepared the traffic study. So let me look at the TDM real quick. So some of the TDM measure would be things like for the project should have a halftime transportation coordinator to coordinate the kind of the right matching assistance. The project could provide preferential carpool parking, also flexible work schedule for the carpoolers, and van pool assistance. So van pool program, and then and bicycle entry facilities such as a parking, or even showers for the bicycle riders, and also lockers for them to put their belongings to. So that way you can encourage people to drive less, and either through carpools or other transportation mode. So that's basically the TDM measure that's being proposed.
Yeah, so if I can summarize real quick, Commissioner Sands, is, given the number of parking spaces that is required per the code based on the uses that are proposed within this building, there are TDM measures that are required under the mitigation monitoring program for the development of this site. And again, as mentioned by the traffic consultant, carpooling, part of this project will require that the installation of bicycles, bicycle racks, to allow for alternative modes of transportation. So the carpooling and the use of bicycle parking. So that way you reduce those vehicle trips. But on its face, yes, under the code that does require that number of parking spaces to be provided on site. And again, with the promotion of the installation of the bicycles and also those the TDM measures that were mentioned. you have any follow-up questions to the information that was provided to you, I'm more than happy to answer those before we open it up to the applicant regarding comments specific to the elevations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ron, and Kimberly and Tom. I think the information is very straightforward and helpful. I do appreciate it.
Okay, so we'll open up to the applicant, Amar Lapsi, and Dr. Lapsi, if you would like to comment on the commissioner's comment regarding the building elevations that he suggested.
I think let me fragment this question into three parts. Number one is landscaping. I understand the concern that it should not be like an eyesore. We should have quite a bit. And that's the reason not only the area is over 10%, but we are also thinking of planting a tall tree, like a palm tree in the front, and a lot of other different places, mature tree, not like a small tree. So in addition to satisfy the total area, we are going to be putting a larger tree all around too. Second part is the parking. If we really consider City of Baldwin Park parking requirement, we need close to 240 parking. And it was difficult to meet this requirement. And that's the reason why we had to go for underground parking. Underground parking is really increasing the cost substantially, and but that was required. But if you ask us to remove that, we can always remove the underground parking. But that's totally up to the planning. So that's the second part of it. The third part is you're talking about elevation in the front and in the side. The elevation was well balanced. In the back, in order to keep the privacy, we kept most of the area without any windows and everything else too. If the planning would like to have something put in there, more windows, we can always do that. But we were thinking that in the back there is quite a bit of residential area, and we should respect their privacy. So essentially that's what it comes down to. In terms of landscaping, we are willing to work with the planning in terms of our landscape plan, and we will share the suggestion and recommendation and put it in place so that the building looks kind of surrounded with lots of green rather than just a concrete building coming in front. At the same time, I wanted to also had a little bit different issues. We are talking about the noise in the back part during construction. I understand that, and we'll mitigate that according to what Mr. Garcia said. But nevertheless, this particular building is going to be buffer and prevent a lot of highway noise, because a 6-story building will prevent a lot of noise going to those West Covina houses and the nursing home on the west side. This is just a side comment, but I just wanted to lay by that. Eventually, there'll be less noise going to that area than what it is right now. So I hope I clarified our position to work with the planning department in terms of landscape plan, and I understand the commissioner concern, and we'll try to mitigate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lapsawala. Planning Commission, any comments?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not like a deal breaker, but I understand the desire to protect privacy, and I understand that the windows aren't there. But I guess like when I was like referring to as a green wall is basically like a vertical garden that would hang basically on the wall of like that empty space above the entrance to the parking garage, right? So like that would still maintain the privacy of the residents and probably even give it a more like appealing like sight from their backyards or whatnot, with that like I don't even know what type of like greenery is used to grow on the wall. But just to kind of give it more of a green feel, and I do appreciate like planting of extra trees and going above and beyond the city code in terms of landscaping. And of course, we appreciate it. But that was just my thought. It's like wherever like the building lacked the windows on the backside, just adding some like greenery to give it more of a appealing view. But again, it's not a deal breaker.
Thank you, Commissioner Sands. So there's a couple options here. I'm going to recommend that we go back to the applicant to see if they're open to going back and looking at that elevation. Dr. Lapsawala.
Yes, but I did not catch it, your question correctly.
So the question, Dr. Lapsawala, is asked by the Commissioner Sands, if you're willing to modify the southerly elevation, the building wall that provides a blank face, to enhance that by providing a landscape wall of some sort.
Well, I will have to talk to the landscape architect and how we can do it. We can work together. Other thing is I can put some kind of mural or something in that area, if that is an eyesore. But that area, or I can put some windows. That's another issue too. But I think we'll work with Mr. Garcia and satisfy our commissioner's recommendations somehow. We have to work. For me to answer that question is kind of difficult because I'm not a landscape architect. I don't have much knowledge, but we can work around it. So there are three options. Number one, like what Commissioner said, and number two is we can always add some windows there and break that monotonous area. And the third thing is we can put some kind of art mural, some sort of art mural on the wall, made out of a ceramic tile or something. But that's something we can work with planning department.
Thank you, Dr. Lapsawala. So, Commissioner, Chairman Sands and the Planning Commission. So there's two options here. One is you can allow staff to work with the applicant to work out the comments that were provided by the Planning Commission, or second, request that we can come back to show the modifications to the building for the commissioner's review and approval.
Hey Ron. So I can only speak for myself and not the rest of the commission, but I'm okay with advancing the project tonight with the addition that the applicant work with staff to kind of resolve that kind of blank space. But I think I'm okay with that. I don't know what the other commissioners think.
I'm good with it. I think the doctor did a fantastic job of explaining, about the noise and also working in order to enhance that. So I'm good with it too.
I'm also good with it. This is Edith. I think we can move forward.
Yeah, sounds good. I think we should move forward, and it looks like we have a nice team working with the planning staff and the doctors, and we will come up with something that'll be pleasing to the eye.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think it. I'll make the motion in just 1 second, but maybe this is a question for staff. I guess on the sidewalk or on the street in front of this project, would it be at all possible to add, or I know that's not even a city program, but the e-bike stations or somewhere in the general vicinity of that section of the neighborhood, just so that if we, aside from the bike parking that the applicants are proposing and adding. I just think that if we're going to encourage biking, we do have a city program of our bikes, so residents visiting the doctor could pick up a bike in one sector of the city and ride it over and leave it in another another section of the city. Like, is that something that, I know that's probably Parks purview, but is that something that we could also consider?
Absolutely, Chairman Sands. So that program, again, this building won't be completed until 2024, but I want to put it back to to Dr. Lapsawala, the property owner and who's going to operate this site. If they're willing to work with the city public works department and further advancing the e-bike share program, not to do it on the public right of way. The only issue there is I'm thinking that there's not enough space to do that, to allow to comply with ADA access, but to place the e-bike share program on site as an alternative.
Yeah, I just think that it has that's doing our part to increase alternative ridership, I guess. And I don't want it to be a deal breaker. I feel like I'm being pushy, asking for so much. But if the applicant would be willing to house that bike station in the parking lot, that'd be amazing. But if not, also looking for alternative places to place that parking station.
Dr. Lapsawala?
Yes, we can do that, but one thing is we might lose few parkings. That's what, just want to let you know. It's a better use of parking, but we might be able, depending upon how many stands we are going to create, we will be losing few parking on that account. And I'm willing to work with Mr. Garcia and the planning department and other department of the city.
Thank you, Dr. Lapsawala. So Chairman Sands, what we can do is, I think your suggestion meets the spirit and intent of the mitigation measure, the TDM mitigation measure for bicycle racks and alternative modes of transportation to the site. And so we can make a note of that to connect Dr. Lapsawala and the Public Works Department to work out a program for that in the future.
Great. Thank you very much, Ron and Doctor. Thank you very much for being so flexible and accommodating. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to adopt the resolution and adopt the findings of fact. But do we need to include any stipulation as to, I guess, the additions that we're asking, or does the...
Yes, Commissioner, Chairman Sands. A general comment we can add to the conditions of approval that the applicant work with staff to enhance the southerly elevation, including landscaping throughout the site.
Noted. Thank you very much, Ron. So at this time, I'm going to make a motion to adopt Resolution PC 20-24, entitled a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park, adopting a mitigated negative declaration and a mitigation monitoring and reporting program, location 14614-14622, Delwood Street, applicant the Setson Group, Inc., case number TPM 83340 and CV-711, and adopt the findings of fact on resolution PC 20-25 with the added conditions of applicant working with staff to enhance the southerly elevation and work towards the installation of an e-bike station, entitled a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park approving a tentative parcel map to consolidate 3 lots into 1 lot, and a zoning variance to deviate from the minimum lot size, lot depth, and lot width to facilitate the development of a 6-story, 59,766 square foot general office, retail, and medical office building, including subterranean parking and service parking, location 14614-14622 Dalewood Street. Applicant, the Stetson Group, Inc., case number 2PM-83340 and ZV-711. That is my motion.
I'll second that motion. Commissioner Garrido.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Garrido. Madam Secretary, will you please call roll?
Thank you for making me.
Chair Christopher Sines,
Yes.
Vice Chair Edwin Borcas,
Yes.
Commissioner Edith Flores Reese,
Yes.
and Commissioner Christopher Garrido.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Motion passes 4-0. Congratulations. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and move on to the reports of officers. Mr. Ron Garcia.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Sines, members of the commission. First off, I just want to start with some dry information first as we conclude our final planning commission of 2020. First, I just wanted to put in a reminder that on January 27th, we will be holding a joint study session with the City Council, which is a housing element update study session, which is going to lay out the next year for adoption of the housing element in October, which is required by state law to be updated every 8 years. So I'm looking forward to that. Please mark your calendars and look out for that email, reminder emails as we get close to that meeting date in January, on January 27th. And then second, I want to thank the mayor, the former mayor, and also Gina Ayala for those kind comments and always their continued support to staff here in community development and the planning division. And also want to congratulate Marlene Garcia to being elected to the city clerk position, and want to thank her for all her continued support and during her time that she served on the planning commission. And lastly, I want to thank the planning commission and city attorney for your continued support all year. I know it's been a crazy year with COVID and all, but want to thank you for your patience. And again, couldn't be more happy with your support in making the city a better place for their residents and their businesses. And so I would really look forward to working with you guys in 2021. Want to wish you a happy holiday and happy new year if I don't talk to you. But and I want to thank Mark and David for their awesome IT support during our downtown specific plan update charrettes. And without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have this possible in holding these meetings virtually and essentially going without a snag. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, David, for all your help on this. So that's those are my comments, and thank you again.
Hey, Ron, thank you very much for keeping us, well, for everything you do, firstly, and then also keeping us in the loop and in constant communication with us. We're really excited with the direction of the city since you've come on board. So we're happy to have you, and you're such a great asset. Same with Esther. Thank you very much for everything you do. Such an amazing person. Mark and David, thank you very much for helping us host these meetings virtually. And to the rest of the Planning Commission, thank you guys very much for your commitment to serving the city and also wishing you guys a happy or Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and I look forward to our, I guess, next meeting.
Commissioners, Chairman Sands, I just want to thank you for that reminder. So we're not planning on having a planning commission meeting. Right now we don't have a planning commission scheduled the beginning of January. Our next meeting would be the study session, which is for January 27th. So there's going to be some time off from having any planning commission meetings.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ron. Any additional comments, commissioners, before we adjourn tonight's meeting?
Hello, everybody. This is Edith. I'd just like to say same to you, Sheriff Science, and everyone else. You guys have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January 27th.
And if I may, on behalf of the IT department, it's been a pleasure to serve the commission, and we look forward to seeing you guys again in the new year.
Thank you, David.
If I may, Chairman Sines, Robert Tafoya.
Let's go ahead, Robert.
Thank you very much. The first thing is I wanted to thank you, Chairman Sines, for your leadership and what you provide to the commission, as well as the rest of our commissioners. But I know it's a very difficult job as being a chairman, sometimes a thankless job. So I want to thank you for your leadership and guiding us through the year. Thank you very much, and I enjoyed working with you. I also wanted to echo the comments made about our former commissioner, Marlene Garcia, and thank her for her service, her 4 years of service as a commissioner, as a city clerk, and as a city council member. So we wish her well, and we're sorry to see her go. I wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. It's been a pleasure, although the year's been very trying. I look forward to 2021, and the best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert. And again, on behalf of the Planning Commission, we thank you for your help and guidance this entire year, and then also since we've been members of the Planning Commission, you've been such a great asset helping us and guiding us along the way. So we do appreciate you, and we wish you happy holidays, and we'll look forward to serving together into the future.
Thank you, sir.
So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of a dear friend of mine, Joanne Watkins. She served the city of Baldwin Park as a Parks and Rec commissioner for several years. I had the honor of serving under her chairmanship, and passed away recently. She was a dedicated educator in our city, and a very civically active member of our community, and she's going to be dearly missed. So with that note, I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting in honor of Joanne Watkins.
I will second that beautiful motion. Thank you, Chairman Simon.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Garrido. Madam Secretary, will you please call roll?
Thank you, Chair. Chair Christopher Sine,
Yes.
Vice Chair Edwin Borkus,
Yes.
Commissioner Edith Flores Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Christopher Garrido.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Motion passes 4-0. Tonight's meeting is adjourned at 8:12 p.m. Viva Baldwin Park. Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year, everybody.
Merry Christmas
Viva
to you
la-
guys.
Happy holidays.
Viva Baldwin Park.
Viva Baldwin Park.
Hey, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Hi, Esther.
Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm good. I miss you, though. Every time I hear your voice, it makes me smile. Thank you.
Well,